Welcome to IRA's online classes. This session will go for the topic voice. Now questions on voice will be there in the sentence improvement part, spotting the part, and apart from these two, we can find direct questions on voice. In Tier 2, SSC Tier 2, there will be 20 questions on voice. In Tier 1 also we have questions on voice. In fact, the topic voice depends on tenses. We can move on to voice only if we have a good knowledge of the structures of the categories of tenses. Now, I told you about the structures while discussing tenses. Now, all the structures we discussed in tenses, in the case of tenses, were in the active voice. Because all the structures started like this, subject plus. Subject comes at the beginning in the active voice. The structures in the passive voice are a bit different. I'll take you through structures in the passive voice as well. Then we'll try solving some questions. Now, this voice and speech, active voice, passive voice, direct speech, indirect speech, these two come under transformation of sentences. Transforming sentences from one form to the other. So these two come under transformation of sentences. When you go for a question on voice, a direct question on voice, the first thing that needs to be done is trying to identify the tense and the category of the sentence that is given as a question. If you go wrong while identifying that, you will never get the answer. So never go wrong by identifying the tense and the category of the sentence that is given as a question. And when you go for direct questions on voice, don't think about the meanings of the options. Keep eliminating the options based only on the structures. Think about the meaning only when you come across more than one option that has a correct structure, or else don't think about the meaning. Now, when you convert a sentence from one voice to the other, from active to passive or from passive to active, the meaning of the sentence should remain the same. The meaning of a sentence in the active voice must be the same as the meaning in the passive voice. The meaning should remain the same. Similarly, the tense and the category must also remain the same. In the active voice, if it is simple present, the passive voice also must be simple present. Past continuous, the same thing, past continuous. Simple future, the same thing, simple future. The meaning, the tense and the category must remain the same on converting a sentence from one voice to the other. Clear? Now, as you know, the order of a sentence in active voice is subject, verb, object. Subject means a doer of an action. Object means a receiver of an action. You know really well. If a sentence is in the order subject, verb, object, that sentence is in the active voice. If a sentence is in the order object, verb, subject, that sentence is in the passive voice. Clear? We have already discussed the structures of the categories of tenses in the active voice. In the case of tenses, we discussed it. We'll go for the structures of the categories of tenses in the passive voice as well. Every category has a structure in both active voice and passive voice. Some exceptions are there, I'll tell you this. Come to the first category. Now, every tense, present, past and future, every tense can be divided into four categories. Simple, continuous, perfect and perfect continuous. These are the four categories into which every tense can be divided. Right. Come to the first category, simple. First one, simple present tense. The structure of simple present tense, you know really well the structures in the active voice, what we discussed in tenses. The structure of simple present tense in the active voice is subject plus V1. Subject plus V1 is simple present active voice. Now come to these sentences. They help him. The subject here is they. Help is the verb here. Him is the object. Subject, verb, object, active voice. They help him. The subject here is they. Plus help is V1 plural. And subject plus V1 is simple present. We talk to them. She teaches me. I'll come back to it. Now here, the structure of simple present in active voice is subject plus V1. The structure of simple present in the passive voices is ROM plus V3. I told you while discussing pronouns, V1 and V2 never appear in the passive voice. V1 and V2 will never appear in the passive voice. In the passive voice, the verb forms are V3 and ing. V3 and ing are the only verb forms in the passive voice. V1 and V2 will never come in the passive voice. Simple present in the passive voices is ROM plus V3. I'll convert the same statement into passive voice. They help him is active voice, simple present. So in the active voice, in the passive voice also it must be simple present. The meaning should also remain the same. They help him in the passive voice becomes he is helped by them. He is helped by them. Their helping becomes he is helped by them. I'll come back to it, I'll explain it. Now here, active voice simple present, passive voice also it must be simple present. He is helped by them. Is it simple present? Is it present tense? Yes. Because is comes only in the present tense. Yes will not come in the past tense or future tense. Yes comes only in the present tense. So it must be in one of the four categories of present tense. Simple present, present continuous, present perfect or present perfect continuous. Is it present continuous? No, because ing is not there. So it is not present continuous. It cannot be present perfect continuous because ing is not there. Now we have only two categories left. One is simple present, other one is present perfect. Is it present perfect? No. Has or have is not there, so it is not present perfect. So only one category is left, that is simple present. I'll come back to the statement. Come to the next one. We talk to them. Active voice, simple reasons, talk is V1. V1 will never come in the passive voice. So this sentence is in the order subject, verb, object, active voice. Now talk is a verb, to is a preposition. Talk is a verb, to is a preposition. A verb followed by a preposition is called a phrase. A verb followed by a preposition is called a phrase. We'll discuss idioms and phrases later in detail. Now we can never divide the words in a phrase. If you divide the words in a phrase, the meaning of a sentence gets completely changed. Actually, when you convert a sentence from one voice to the other, the meaning should remain the same. Talk is a verb, to is a preposition, so talk to becomes a phrase. And we can never divide the words in a phrase. We talk to him, talk to them is active voice, simple present. In the passive voice also it must be simple present. This sentence in the simple present tense becomes, we talk to them becomes, they are talked to by us. They are talked by us is wrong. Phrase, the words in a phrase cannot be divided as it. They are talked to by us sounds incorrect but correct. Now are comes only in the present tense. Are doesn't come in the past tense or future tense. Are comes only in the present tense. So this sentence is in the present tense and it must be in one of the four categories of present tense. There is no ing here, not present continuous, not present perfect continuous. No has to have, it's not present perfect. The only category left is simple present. I'll come back to it. Come to the next one. She teaches me, active voice. Simple reasons, teaches is V1, will not come in the passive voice. So this sentence is in the order subject, verb, object, active voice. Simple present, in the passive voice also it must be simple present. She teaches me in the passive voice becomes I am. Yes and are cannot be used with I. Am is used with I. So I am taught by her. By comes in the passive voice. I am taught by her. The object here is the object. Okay, fine. Am comes only in the present tense. No ing, not continuous, not perfect continuous. No has or have, so not present perfect. The only category left is simple present. Now come to these sentences once again. He is helped by them. The object here is he. Verb here is helped. Helped is a verb, is also a verb. Is an auxiliary verb, helped is a main verb. So is helped is a verb here. Them is the subject, object, verb, subject, passive voice. They are talked to by us. They is object here. Are talked to is the verb here. Us is the subject, object, verb, subject, passive voice. I am taught by her. The pronoun I is the object here. Am taught is the verb here. Her is the subject, object, verb, subject, passive voice. Now these sentences, the same statements. He is helped by them is simple present passive voice. They are talked to by us, simple present passive voice. I am taught by her, simple present passive voice. Now, the order of simple present in the active voice is subject plus V1. The order of simple present in the passive voice is ROM plus V3. So if a simple present statement is in the passive voice, it must be in this structure, ROM plus V3. You need to by heart all the structures. There's no choice for you. The structures, in fact, are to make our task very easy. You can go for the elimination process and get the answer, but consumes time. If you know structures by heart, you can go for the answer, the correct answer in no time. So this must be the structure of a simple present statement in the passive voice. Come to the same statements once again. He is helped by them, passive voice. Help is both V2 and V3. In this sentence, help cannot be V2 because this sentence is in the passive voice. I told you V1 and V2 will never appear in the passive voice. So helped must be V3 here. So is helped is plus V3. Is plus V3 is simple present in passive voice. Come to the second one. They are talked to by us. Talked is also both V2 and V3. It's talk, talked, talked. In this sentence, talked is in the V3 form because the sentence is in the passive voice. V1 and V2 never come in the passive voice. So R talked to is R plus V3. R plus V3 is simple present passive voice. Come to the last one. I am taught by her. Taught is also both V2 and V3. Teach, taught, taught. In this case, taught is in the V3 form because sentence is in the passive voice. So am taught is am plus V3 and am plus V3 is simple present passive voice. So this is the structure of the simple present tense in both active voice and passive voice. Active voice is subject plus V1. Passive voice is ROM plus V3. Clear? Come to the next category, simple past tense. The structure of simple past tense in the active voice is subject plus V2. You know that. Now, the structure of simple present in the passive voice is ROM plus V3. So, what must be the structure of simple past in passive voice? Was or were plus V3. The past tense of both is and am is was. The past tense of are is were. So replace is, are and am with was or were. With was and were. So simple past passive voice is was or were plus V3. Come to the statement. She killed him. Active voice simple past tense. Subject verb object. Killed is V2 here. There's nothing like subject plus V3. It's always subject plus V2 in the active voice. So subject plus V2 is simple past active voice. She killed him, active voice, simple past. In the passive voice also it must be simple past tense. This sentence in the passive voice becomes, he was killed by her. He was killed by her. He, the pronoun he is the object here. Was killed is a verb here. Her is a subject, object, verb, subject, passive voice. Killed is both V2 and V3. Kill, killed, killed. In this sentence, killed is in the V3 form because sentence is in the passive voice. So was killed is was plus V3 and was plus V3 is simple past in the passive voice. Clear? Come next one. They looked after me. Active voice, simple past tense. Simple past tense, active voice. Looked is a verb. After is a preposition. A verb followed by a preposition is called a phrase. So looked after becomes a phrase. As I told you, we can never divide the words in a phrase. They looked after me, active voice, simple past. In the passive voice also it must be simple past. This sentence in the passive voice becomes I was or I were. When do we use word with I? Were can be used with I only for sentences in the subjunctive mode. We discussed in the case of tenses, subjunctive agreement, conditional sentences. If I were, subjunctive mode, imagination. Whereas in all the other cases with I, the verb must be was. So I was looked after by them. I was looked by them is okay, but the meaning changes. The meaning should remain the same. The words in a phrase cannot be divided. I was looked after by them. The pronoun I is the object here. Was looked after is the verb here. Them is the subject, object, verb, subject, passive voice. Looked is both V2 and V3. Look, looked, looked. In this case, looked is in the V3 form because sentence is in the passive voice. So was looked after is was plus V3, and was plus V3 is simple past, passive voice. Getting it? Come next one. We agreed with them, active voice, simple past tense. Now, agreed is a verb, with is a preposition. So, agreed with becomes a phrase. And we can never divide the words in a phrase. We agree with a person and agree to something. It comes in preposition section. Them means they are persons, so we agreed with them. Active voice, simple past tense. In the passive voice also it must be simple past. Agreed with is a phrase. So, this statement in the passive voice becomes they were agreed with phrase. Agreed with by us. They were agreed by us is wrong. They were agreed with by us. Passive voice. The pronoun they is the object here. Were agreed with is the verb here. Us is the subject. Object, verb, subject, passive voice. Agreed is both V2 and V3. Agree, agreed, agreed. In this statement, agreed is the V3 form because sentence is in the passive voice. So, were agreed with is were plus V3, and were plus V3 is simple past, passive voice. So, the simple past in the active voice and the passive voice. Active voice is subject plus V2, passive voice is was or were plus V3. Clear? Come to the last category in the simple tense, simple future. The structure of simple future in the active voice is subject plus will or shall plus V1 plural. As you know, in the future tense, a singular verb never appears. The structure of simple future in the passive voice is will or shall plus be plus V3. Will or shall plus be plus V3 is simple future in the passive voice. They will play football, active voice. The subject here is they. Will play is will is a verb here. Football is the object here. Subject, verb, object, active voice. Doer, verb, receiver. Subject, verb, object. Will play is will plus V1 plural. Play is V1 plural. And subject plus will or shall plus V1 plural is simple future in the active voice. So they will play football as active voice, simple future. In the passive voice also it must be in the simple future tense. The same idea in the passive voice becomes football will be, will or shall, anything is fine. Football will be played by them. Football will be played by them. Football is the object here. Will be played is the verb here. Them is the subject here. Object, verb, subject, passive voice. Played is both V2 and V3. Play, played, played. In this sentence, played is in the V3 form because sentence is in the passive voice. So, will be played is will plus be plus V3, and will plus be plus V3 is simple future in the passive voice. So, if a simple future statement is in the passive voice, it must be in this structure, will or shall plus be plus V3. Clear? So, with this, the simple part is done. Simple present, simple past, simple future. Come to the next category, the second category, continuous. Present continuous, past continuous, future continuous. Now, in every continuous sentence in the passive voice, being appears. Being appears in every continuous sentence in the passive voice. If you find any continuous sentence in the passive voice, present continuous or past continuous, future continuous, leave it, I'll tell you that. If you find any continuous tense in the passive voice, present continuous or past continuous, being must, check whether being is there. If you don't find being there, without thinking much, eliminate that option. In every continuous tense in the passive voice, being must be there. That means being comes in the passive voice to denote continuous tense. I repeat, being comes in the passive voice to denote continuous tense. Clear? Now come to the first one, present continuous. The structure of present continuous in the active voice. Active voice structures we discussed in tenses actually, in the topic tenses. Active voice, present continuous active voices, subject plus is or plus is ro am plus v1 plus ing. You know this. The structure of present continuous in the passive voices is ro am plus being plus v3. Is ro am plus being plus v3 is present continuous in the passive voice. So if a present continuous tense is in the passive voice, it must be in this structure, is ro am plus being plus v3. Being because it is continuous, v3 because it is passive voice. v1 and v2 will never come in the passive voice. So being because it is continuous, v3 because it is passive voice. So present continuous in the passive voice is ro am plus being plus v3. Clear? Come to these sentences. She is buying a book. She is buying a book. The subject here is she. Is buying is a verb here. A book is a object here. Subject, verb, object, active voice. Is buying is plus v1 plus ing. And is plus v1 plus ing is present continuous active voice. So this sentence is in the present continuous tense active voice. So in the passive voice also it must be in the present continuous tense. This sentence in the same idea in the passive voice becomes a book is being bought by her. A book is being bought by her. Buy is v1, v2 is bought, v3 is also bought. It's buy, bought, bought. Bring, brought, brought. A book is being bought by her. A book is the object. Is being bought is a verb here. Her is a subject, object, verb, subject, passive voice. Bought in this sentence is in the v3 form because sentence is in the passive voice. So is being bought is plus being plus v3. And is plus being plus v3 is present continuous in the passive voice. So a book is being bought by her is present continuous passive voice. Clear? The next one. They are taking care of me. Active voice. Subject, verb, object. Active voice. Are taking is are plus v1 plus ing present continuous. Taking care is a verb. Of is a preposition. So verb followed by preposition. Taking care of becomes a phrase. We can never divide the words in a phrase. Active voice, simple present. In the passive voice also it must be simple present. This sentence in the passive voice becomes active voice present continuous. I'll take again. This sentence is in the active voice, present continuous tense. So in the passive voice also it must be in the present continuous tense. So this sentence in the passive voice becomes I am being taken care of by them. Taken care of phrase. I am being taken care of by them. Take is v1, took is v2, taken is v3. It's take, took, taken. I am being taken care of by them. I is the object here. Am being taken care of is a verb here. Them is a subject here. Object, verb, subject, passive voice. Am being taken care of is am plus being plus v3. I am being taken care by them is wrong. I am being taken care of by them. Phrase. Am being taken care of is am plus being plus v3. and am plus being plus V3 is present continuous in the passive voice. Getting it? Come to the next one. He is shouting at us. Active voice, present continuous. Shouting is a verb. At is a preposition. So shouting at becomes a phrase. Active voice, present continuous. In the passive voice also it must be present continuous. He is shouting at us. In the passive voice becomes we are being shouted at by him. He is shouting at us, present continuous active voice. We are being shouted at by him, present continuous passive voice. We, the pronoun we is the object here. Are being shouted at is a verb here. Him is a subject here. Object, verb, subject, passive voice. Shouted is V3 here because sentence is in the passive voice. So are being shouted at is are plus being plus V3. And are plus being plus V3 is present continuous in the passive voice. So this is, we are being shouted by him. So this is present continuous, active voice and passive voice. You need to by heart all these structures. Clear? Come to the next category, past continuous. The structure of past continuous in the active voice is subject plus was or verb plus V1 plus ing. The structure of present continuous in the passive voice is yes, are, or am plus being plus V3. So what must be the structure of past continuous in the passive voice? Was or verb plus being plus V3. Replace is, are and am with was or were. Clear? So was or were plus being plus V3 is past continuous passive voice. Being because it is continuous tense, V3 because it is passive voice. So if a past continuous tense is in the passive voice, it must be in this structure. Come to the statement now. She was sitting on a chair. The subject here is she. Was sitting on is a verb here. A chair is the object. Subject, verb, object, active voice. Was sitting is was plus V1 plus ing, past continuous. Sitting on, sitting is a verb, on is a preposition. So sitting on becomes a phrase. We cannot divide, or we should not divide the words in a phrase. So she was sitting on a chair, active voice, past continuous. In the passive voice also it must be past continuous. This sentence in the past in the passive voice becomes a chair was being sat on by her. Sit is V1, sat is V2, sat is V3. Sit, sat, sat. Her chair was being sat on by her. Her chair was being sat by her is on. Phrase. Her chair was being sat on by her sounds absolutely incorrect but completely fine. Just go by the concepts or the rules. Her chair is the object here. Was being sat on is a verb here. Her is a subject here. Object, verb, subject, passive voice. Sat is V2 and V3. In this case, sat is in the V3 form because sentence is in the passive voice. So was being sat on is was plus being plus V3, and was plus being plus V3 is past continuous passive voice. A chair was being sat on by her. Clear? The next one. We were focusing on the issues. We, the pronoun we is a subject here. Were focusing is a verb here. The issues is the object here. Subject, verb, object, active voice. Verb focusing is verb plus V1 plus ing, past continuous. Focusing is a verb. On is a preposition. So focusing on becomes a phrase. We were focusing on the issues. Active voice, past continuous. The passive voice also it must be past continuous. This sentence in the past continuous tense in the passive voice becomes the issues were being focused. SCD, SSCD both are correct. American spelling and British spelling. SSCD is British spelling, SCD is American spelling. The issues were being focused on by us. The issues were being focused by us is wrong. Phrase. The issues were being focused on by us. The issues is the object here. Verb being focused on is a verb here. Us is the subject here. Object, verb, subject, passive voice. Focus is both V2 and V3. Focus, focused, focused. In this case, focus is in the V3 form. The sentence is in the passive voice. So, verb being focused on is verb plus being plus V3, and verb plus being plus V3 is passive voice, past continuous tense, grammatically correct. The issue is verb being focused on by us. Clear? So, this is past continuous, active voice and passive voice. Active voice is subject plus was over verb plus V1 plus ing. Passive voice is was over verb plus being plus V3. Clear? Now we have one more category left in the continuous tense. Future continuous. The structure of future continuous in the active voice is subject plus will or shall plus be plus V1 plus ing. If I say she will be playing tennis. She will be playing tennis. The pronoun she is the subject here. Will be playing is the verb here. Tennis is the object here. So this sentence is in the order subject, verb, object, active voice. Will be playing is will plus be plus V1 plus ing. And will plus be plus V1 plus ing is future continuous in the active voice. So she will be playing tennis is future continuous active voice. Her future continuous sentence cannot be converted into passive voice. There is no passive voice for future continuous. She will be playing tennis. This sentence cannot be converted into passive voice. That means in the case of voice, you will not find or you will not come across any question in the future continuous tense, because the future continuous sentence cannot be converted into passive voice. There's no passive voice of future continuous. I told at the beginning when I start with the continuous category. In every continuous sentence in the passive voice, I said present continuous and past continuous. Being must be there. Clear? Because the future continuous sentence cannot be converted into passive voice. So this is about the category called continuous. In every continuous sentence in the passive voice, present continuous or past continuous, being must be there. If there is any continuous sentence in the passive voice without being, eliminate that option. So this is about the second category, continuous. Present continuous and past continuous. Future continuous has structure in the active voice. Future continuous does not have a structure in the passive voice. Clear? Thank you.